Hello! I've been meaning to do unwrapping for Blender for a while, so here we go. As you can see, I have a barrel modeled out. I have my hard edges applied, but unwrapping, the importance of unwrapping. Obviously, when we import this into Unreal, the object we get is just going to be a blank barrel. Let's see here. If we just take this off, there we go. We just got our barrel right there. Let's go ahead and hide the collision. So we got our barrel, and we want to apply a barrel material to it. But at this point in stage, after we've just freshly modeled it, we haven't unwrapped it yet, so we go to apply our material and it doesn't look right. This is obviously not appearing correctly here. If we go into unlit mode, you can see it's just a solid brown. And that is because of the unwrap. When you model out in Blender, the unwrap becomes, to say the least, garbled. To see the unwrap, this little tab up here, just click and drag right here on the lines, and you'll get a second window. So if we want to go to UV image editor, and make sure you're in edit mode. So if you're in object mode, just hit tab or go down to here and go to edit mode. And if you have your mouse over the barrel, hit A. If you have to, hit it twice to get the full blue to show that it's completely selected. Still nothing is appearing over here. That's because the unwrap is completely not even anything yet. I haven't marked this for unwrap at all yet. So if I hit U and unwrap, it looks like a giant square right now. This is not what we want. We want to be able to see all our different areas of the barrel without any problems. So before you start your unwrap, you have to know approximately what your object's going to look like unwrapped. Like, you want to make sure that the materials that you're going to have unwrapped are all grouped together. So like this band right here going around the outer edge, this is all metal. And this is all metal. And everything else is just going to be the wood material. If you're going to have a separate material for the inside versus the outer rim right here, you have to know that as well. I don't think I made that in my material. I'll have to edit my material later. So, to illustrate this better, let's look at some barrels that other people have unwrapped. We'll start with this one right here. This is pretty much what an unwrap will look like in the end. This is actually the material for it. We've got our the sides of our barrel right here, and the top and the bottom. What you don't want to happen is you don't want your unwrap to look like this. Right here, we've got the side of the barrel, and then we have it again here. This right here is just a waste of space. We've got the top here and the bottom down here. All this black area left open, that is all material that you can use. And you don't want all that black space available. You want it to be as compact as possible. That way when you have when you create the texture, the size you save it as is obviously going to affect how pixelated or non-pixelated the image is. So if you have a 512 texture and only, what is that, 1/5 of it is being used for the side of the barrel, that is 1/5 of a 512 texture in space is being used for the actual side of your barrel. So it's going to be extremely pixelated. This one is better. You want your top and bottom to be lined up to use the most space, but at the same time you still see there's a lot of black. You can use unwraps like this, but it's a little bit wasting in space, and generally you don't want to do that. This one right here, this one's actually pretty good. The biggest problem is the actual size in game is tiny. All these details right here, you're not seeing them at all. This right here, I'm not entirely certain what that's for. It probably has a reason that I don't know about. And then if you look at the size of the top of the barrel in proportion to the side, that is good for a top-down render. But for in-game play, it will make the sides, if you're playing in a 3D environment with first or third person view, you're going to notice pixelation in the barrel sides. Also, if you notice the size of the metal here, it is huge in comparison to the size of the rest of the barrel. That means that this area right here, all the metal, is going to appear sharper and less pixelated than the rest of the barrel. But when you have an asset that's this tiny and you're never looking that close at it, this is a huge waste of space that could have been used for other portions of the barrel, like the sides or the top. If you do need that definition, this is a great idea. The amount of wasted space in here is very minimal. They could have done a little bit better, yes, but I mean, from just looking at space-wise, this was pretty well used. The problem is being the size of the different materials in comparison to what is important versus what is not. So you want to keep that in mind when you're making your materials, what needs to be large versus what needs to be small on the texture. So I use this type of setup for my material. If we go back into Unreal and open up the texture, you can see that we've got our two barrels, our top and our bottom, just picked randomly from in here. This texture's not complete, by the way. I just threw something together quickly. And then the metal band that we're going to use to texture right here. Okay, so once you know approximately how your unwrap is going to look, that looks weird. Why can't I see it? Material. Like, I've got a character unwrap. I made Sanji quite a few years ago now, I think, from One Piece. He's more complicated. If you look right here, you can see that he's just kind of everywhere. Let's get that bigger so you can see it. No problem. It's a bit hard to tell with the black. But his face is here, the parts of his head, his ears, I forget what that is, his hands, his shirt, his cuffs. They're all laid out flat on the 2D texture. And that's all done with the unwrap. So anyways, back to barrels. So how do we get our unwraps to work? In Blender, it's quite a bit different than in Max, but it's not really anything to be afraid of or anything. So, like with smoothing groups, you want to find your edges where you're going to have the hard edges, except instead of with smoothing groups, instead of the hard edges you want to look for the edges of where your materials are going to intersect. So right now this would be the edge of where the metal intersects with the wood. So I go ahead and I'm on edge mode. Let's pull over that one. And I want to select the edges where the metal's going to intersect with the wood. Control E, edge loops, and then Control E is mark seam. So if we unwrap just from here, this would just become a flat box like what we have going on, what we did have going on here before. Currently you cannot see it because it's not selected. So if I hit A, we got the flat box again. So let's undo that. So to flatten it out, you'll find an edge loop that goes completely through it. You'll want to find somewhere that either it's hidden or it looks natural for a edge to be there, because sometimes you can get a little bit of deformation around it if you're not careful with your textures. And then you want to mark a seam there as well. So now when we unwrap it from here, you unwrap. And you'll notice now that we unwrapped it, it will be a flatter, I should say. It's still kind of round. It's not the... We still have to tweak it more. And then we've got the top and the bottom half of the barrel. I don't know which one's which. This one's I don't know. And then we've got the middle section of the barrel. So let's just extend this crease all the way through. I don't want it there. And then Control E, mark seam, A, twice, U for unwrap. And it looks like I missed one. Where did I miss it? Oh, right there. There we go. Now the middle has been laid out flat, so now we just need to get the rest to be laid out flat. Here I'm going to grab the flat of the top of the barrel, Control E, edge loop, Control E, mark seam, AA, U, unwrap, and now it's all laid out flat. So as you can tell, this is obviously still needs some work. We've got our different sections all marked out. Because of how Blender unwraps, I'm not too familiar with it yet. Max works quite a bit different in its own way. Cylinder, nope, nope. So let's try that again. So let's remove these seams. Oops, I grabbed that one already. Control E, edge loop, Control E, clear seam. That's AA, U, unwrap. Now we got a solid straight. That still looks weird. Why are you being difficult? UVs. Minimize stretch. Oh, whoa, what happened? UVs. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. Why does it... Okay, I think we're going to have to do this manually, which is a pain. So let's grab edges. This is going to be a pain in the ass. Weld a line. Okay. So this is getting closer to what I hoped it had what I hope it had looked like before. Okay, now we just gotta do it for the other axis. There we go. Finally. Ah, okay. To do this, select, I hold Control and use the mouse button that is not mapped for the normal click. I have mine reversed, so I'm using the right mouse button. Let's see here. So, actually, let's grab everything. Rotate, rotate. If I just type in 90 and hit enter, it should be good. So let's grab these. And then UV. If I just pack island, Actually, I think I can just pack island like this, and it's pretty much good. I'll just have to mirror the texture. So, since I made the texture first, I have to align the unwrap with the texture and not the other way around. So I will need to make a new texture. 512 is my map size. That'll work. And then if I grab open barrel D, let us UV mirror X? No, other way. UV mirror Y. So let's L. So when I have an element selected and I hit the L, it selects just that element, which means it's a mesh that has not been welded to or connected to another mesh. So G, Y, and we can give it a little bit of a buffer to the bottom. Considering I just estimated the approximate sizes of everything, I didn't do too bad. So let's go ahead and grab this. G to move. S to scale. That is a... Let's move my mouse out when I scale this time. I don't want it to be exactly fit to size, because then we'll get the hard black edge. So I want it to be just on the inside of that. G to move. S to scale. And G to move again. Okay, so for the metal. Okay, so we need to go back and go through these and straighten them. Okay, so for this, oops. I'm just gonna go ahead and move it here. Scale. X. Y. There we go. G. Scale X. G. Scale S for scale X. G. And I'm just going to do that for both of these. That'll work. Okay, so now we've got our basic unwrap. If we look over here, you can't see it on here, but we can fix that by we can get rid of this now. If you're done editing, just click, grab this one. Oops, don't pull down, and pull it back over, and it'll go away. We go over to our material button over here, which is the little round one, and we add new texture here, new, open. So here at the material, assign. And I don't know if it worked. There we go. And we've got our barrel pretty much textured. You can see some wavies that will need to be fixed eventually. So now it's unwrapped, and all you have to do is re-export it, the FBX. And over here, re-import it, and now it's textured. That's the basics of unwrapping. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it at least. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. If you need to request another additional video, just let me know. If I forgot something or if I mispronounced something, let me know. 'Cause, you know, comments are awesome. I don't know what lesson I'm gonna do next. Possibly LODs, possibly something Unreal, probably something Unreal actually. I need to do a lot of Unreal stuff right now. So, I hope you enjoyed. And I forgot what I was gonna say. So, bye!